Feature of our state, even all the way back to 1878. That's when the mighty Santa Fe Railroad made its way south into New Mexico through the Raton Pass, eventually connecting Chicago to the West Coast. As years went on, fast, luxurious passenger trains like the Super Chief made their way through our state, stopping in rural towns along the way and creating a vital lifeline that is important to this day. Today's passenger service is operated by Amtrak, which receives federal and state subsidies. But riding the rails could again be in jeopardy, all thanks to funding cuts that nix much-needed repairs to aging tracks. But today there is a light at the end of the long and contentious battle over what could happen to the Southwest Chief. Our Hawker Vanguard is here live in studio to explain.
Just this morning, Senator Tom Udall delivered good news. A Senate committee agreed to help the state access federal money to pay for those much-needed repairs, a sign that Washington hears New Mexico loud and clear.
Well, the Southwest Chief is really the backbone of transportation infrastructure in rural New Mexico. This is something that ties together our rural communities and has an enormous economic impact on those communities each and every year.
Senator Martin Heinrich says that backbone is close to breaking. The rails that Amtrak trains run on in our state are old. Federal money for dire repairs on rails from Raton Pass to Lamy could be sidetracked. Heinrich says Amtrak is threatening to pull $3 million in matching funds from a federal grant, an amount that makes the project unviable.
We need the Trump administration and Amtrak to make good on the promises that they've made.
Strong words from a senator that echoes with passengers who rely on the chief for interstate travel.
A lot of people take it, especially if you're coming from like Gallup.
Cross-country leisure.
This is just a completely different and better experience.
And income to survive.
This time the threats seem a lot more real, a lot more like it could definitely happen this year.
Jane Naro and her husband have dedicated their lives to serving passengers trackside when the chief stops in Albuquerque.
We've been here 31 years, and it is our sole livelihood, and so not having a train would literally be detrimental to our livelihood.
Last week, in a bipartisan letter to Amtrak CEO Richard Anderson, lawmakers from Kansas, Colorado, and New Mexico urged the CEO to make good on promises to New Mexico.
I think Mr. Anderson needs to get out of his office and come sit down with the delegations from New Mexico and Colorado and Kansas, and we can work this through.
A hint of hope for folks who rely on the rails.